Good morning, everybody. We are live for today's episode of the Coffee Chat Show. I think we'll probably go for June. We'll probably take some couple of weeks off in July. So we'll get together a schedule for the summer for the show. And we're gonna start having some guests, so it'll be a little more interesting than just the three of us. And yeah, we were going to send you guys to link to something, and we just realized our link is broken. So I'm actually texting with our webmaster to see if we can get it fixed while we wait for everybody to catch up with the fact that we are back. Yep. We are online. We will put a schedule somewhere so you'll know when we'll be here, because we'll take a few weeks off in the summer. And yeah, and we're just going to keep rolling. Mm-hmm. We'll be talking about happiness and prosperity principles, and like I said, we're going to start having some guests, different women that do different things in their business that they can share things with us, some energy workers, which I think will be fun for you guys. And yeah, I don't know, whoever we can find that wants to talk about what it's like to be a woman and be in business and be out there in the world.
Yeah.
All right, I don't think we're going to solve this morning. So,
okay.
We were going to talk this morning about
consistency.
Yes. Hold on. All right. We don't have to solve that today. Okay. We are doing a smaller, so we are working with, we are teaching an advanced prosperity course to a group of folks. We are actually going to, I think in the summer, I'm going to teach another kind of beginners prosperity seasons class for like maybe 2 weeks, maybe 2 90-minute sessions, and it'll be priced really reasonably. And I'm hoping that I'll have that all put together by next week. And some of the ladies that are studying with us now and have been for like the last 8 weeks almost, if you guys want to drop in the comments how that's been for you, that's cool. And then for the advanced people, I'm going to teach a course on the 12 powers of woman, the 12 powers of person. Everyone has 12 inherent powers in them that kind of line up similarly. What she said with the chakras, but not quite. And it's something that I've studied since I was young, and my mother studied, and it's a work originally done by Charles Fillmore, and it's been around since the early 1900s, and it's called the 12 Powers. And we will do a 12-week course starting in September, and that probably we'll offer it to our advanced folks, and then we might put it out in the group. So a lot of this stuff, because I don't want to work with large groups, will only be offered. We'll talk about it on the show, and then we'll talk about it more inside the smaller group, which is like 280 people. So if anybody is interested in learning more about that stuff, just drop in the comments as people watch the replay and all of that. If you drop in the comments, we'll make sure that you get the information when it becomes live. So the 12 powers is pretty cool. You have places in your body that align with a particular power. And so there's different things that you can do to forward the action of those 12 powers within you. And I think it'll be a fun class to do in the fall. And and I think I will do a beginners prosperity seasons in June for 2 weeks, and then I won't do anything for July or August as far as classes go, because everybody kind of in vacation mode at that point. So that's kind of what's coming up. I'm redoing a couple of Mom's books for you guys that will be available on Amazon. I'm going to put some classes on the Teachable School. Tracy's probably going to do a class for the Teachable School. Karen's going to do a class for the Teachable School. So we're working on things slowly but surely. And so in our conversations this week and last week with our little advanced prosperity study group, we are recognizing that consistency seems to be the difficulty for a lot of people, including us in some ways when we want to do something. So we're going to throw down a happiness challenge to anybody that wants to accept it before we end the show today. But first we're going to talk about consistency. And so what, like Tracy, when you know you want to do something and you ought to do it, because I hate to should on people. And so you have something that you want to do, that you ought to be doing it. And then you do it for like 2 or 3 weeks, and then something happens and then it's just a bust, and then you don't finish it. Like, how come consistency is difficult for you?
I'll talk about the consistency of the coffee table book that I'm writing, because consistency with exercise is easy for me and eating well is easy for me, but the book and it's like the voice in my head of, who do you think you are? You're writing a book? Like it's the chatter in the head. And so then the only way that I know how to do that is to shut the laptop down and walk away and just go, okay, I'll come back when I'm in a better space. And I do come, sometimes it's like 2 days later, 3 days later, a week later, but I'm back in it and I'm strong and I'm forging forward, and then it'll creep in again. And then because of the work to create a book, there's a lot of little things that are nuances. And I'm like, what am I even doing this for? Who's even going to buy my book? And I do that in the head. And so I have to constantly realign myself. So I think it's the mind chatter really for me. That's where
Karen, how about you?
I'm going to talk about fitness because I feel like when people think of consistency, they think of fitness. And I am going through this right now because before I broke my foot last fall, I was so good about going to the gym. I went by myself. I went with my friend. I went to classes, broke my foot, didn't do anything. And now it's really hard to get back into it. And this is this is a story for a lot of people. When you go really gung-ho, if you stop for whatever reason, like the holidays even, then you try to pick it back up. I think what prevents me from being consistent with it is it's hard. And when it's hard, I get discouraged because it's not easy. So then I don't really want to do it. And then I get bored. And then I think about how hard it is the next time I want to go. And then I don't want to go. And then it just goes over. And then I get myself down because I haven't gone in the past week. So if I haven't gone in the past week, I'm like, well, I already haven't gone, or when you eat kind of like shitty on a Sunday, you're like, oh, well, I already ate shitty, so I'm just going to keep this going. The other day I went to the gym for 20 minutes, which is not a lot of time. I mean, if you're doing sets, 3 sets. Wasn't a lot. Yeah. Wasn't really sore afterwards, but I went.
And so is this challenge I'm about to throw down, because it's going to be an exercise challenge for all of us. Anybody that anyone that chooses to accept it. And we'll be holding people accountable inside the group of like 280 people that we have, or 279 people, and anybody else is welcome to join us inside there. Okay. So it's the group that goes along with the public page. I think it's called the Daily Art of Joy or something.
Okay. You
would think I would know the name of my own group, but I do not. Probably because I've changed it 50 times to try to get it to align with the direction that we're going. We finally have the direction. Apply Happiness is the direction. There is a new site up, which you are welcome to go visit. Excuse me. It's applyhappiness.com. We also have a business brand Facebook page called Applying Happiness. That has about 240,000 followers. And you'll see that start to take off with more directed content toward happiness, communication, and leadership as we kind of figure out next steps. Also, for those of you that wonder what I do in real life, not only do I consult companies and people on happiness and culture and all of that, but Forbes did drop a little story about me yesterday which was actually a really nice article. So you can, we posted it on the Working Phoenix Mom Facebook page yesterday. You can go look for it. That gives you a little bit of background on what I do when I'm not in my pajamas hosting the Coffee Chat show. Okay, so Janet's talking about our little prosperity group. So again, I am going to do another kind of beginners prosperity seasons of happiness and success group. It'll probably be 2 90-minute sessions on 2 evenings in June. I will accept probably only 15 people because I like to work in small groups to make sure that everybody gets the attention that you deserve from me. And I'm still beta testing a lot of this stuff. What I'm doing is beta testing content that I will then probably record and put up on the Teachable School, but I'm beta testing it live, and I'm not sure that I'll always work live with groups. So it's a good chance for you to work with me as if I was coaching you sort of individually in a small group setting. So if you are interested in any of those things coming up, you can drop a note here in the comments, and we'll monitor the comments of this particular show. Excuse me. So the exercise and consistency and all of that, we tell ourselves so many stories, right? Like, here's the thing about, we'll pick exercise because I feel like that's what our challenge is going to be about, because exercise for people seems to be just that. Some people are really good at it, like Tracy, super disciplined. Some people like me have a gym in their basement and can't seem to be consistent. So that's really sad. And so I want to do something about that before it, that needs to be fixed. And if you've been watching me for 10 years, I've been saying this for 10 years. But to Karen's point, before the beginning of the year, I was golden for months. I was super consistent. Then we had the other part of the downstairs refinished. So there were construction people down there for like a month. So I won't say I couldn't, because I very much could have squeezed myself into the gym amongst the other stuff that was in there, but it didn't feel nice down there, and it wasn't super convenient. And so I just made up a story about how I couldn't get down there. It's a total lie, by the way. So, and then I fell off the bus. I will say I've been very consistent with a little Qigong practice and a somatic yoga practice at night and in the morning, because I don't want to be in pain. So that is motivating me, because when I'm doing that, I feel good. And now I'm starting to feel good. And so now I want to get back on the workout bus. So I want to put you all on the bus with me, because it's way easier if I'm accountable to you guys. I'll do it just because I don't want to set a bad example. So if that's what has to motivate me, that's fine. Here's a little trick for yourself. We were talking about this before we went live. If you just tell yourself, I'll just do it for 5 minutes. I'll go work out for 5 minutes, just 5 minutes. And the likelihood is that you'll work out for 5 minutes, and you'll probably continue for maybe 10 or maybe 20. And that's a great way to start something, because a lot of people are waiting for the motivation to go do the thing. I have news. The motivation probably isn't coming. And if you wait for the motivation, you potentially will be waiting for a very long time, and you will accomplish absolutely nothing.
Yep.
So it's like when we tell you that you can make up your own happiness, you can make up your own motivation as well. Now, some interesting things to note about exercise. As I am getting ready to redo one of my mother's books and add some happiness components to it, and as I step out teaching more about accessing happiness all the time, I am digging into lots of different studies and books. And here's the thing: exercise is a precursor to happiness, a daily happiness, because you were not designed to be a sedentary human being. And there are actually cultures in the world, in different parts of the world, that live a really long time because they live in a very different way than we do. Nobody in those cultures is sitting at their desk for 10 hours a day in front of a computer. They're not sitting on the sofa
Mm-hmm.
doing the remote and eating, Cheez-Its. They're outside, like gardening or walking. They're lifting things. They are naturally active and doing things. And that's how you were meant to be. You were meant to be an active human being.
Mm-hmm.
And when you are active, it actually is like taking an antidepressant in a lot of ways, because you are releasing chemicals inside your body. And I'm not going to get into all the scientific shit because it's not my thing. Look it up if you want to know. Go look it up, because there are endorphins and other things that are released when you move your body and exercise that will help you.
Mm-hmm.
And if you are a person that, if you're overweight and you can't stand, or you have a story about, I can't walk, I can't do this, listen, go on YouTube, search chair yoga, search, there's Qigong stuff that you can do just sitting. You can do things from wherever you are. You can start where you are. You can use what you've got and do what you can.
Mm-hmm.
And then lo and behold, you will start to feel better, and you'll want to do a little more and go a little more and go a little more.
Mm-hmm.
The issue in our culture is like it's all or nothing. Like Tracy said, or Karen just said, rather, you go full boat, you go like a bat out of hell. And I am totally guilty of this, because when I hit it with everything I've got. And then when I don't hit it with everything I've got, I'm like, I didn't do it yesterday, so I don't want to do it today. And then before you know it, it's months and you haven't done anything.
Can I say something?
Yeah, please.
So when the gym closed for a little while, and I couldn't get to the gym, I walked around my house, and I use cast iron skillets on the stove, and I have 4 of them. And if you know anything about them, they're quite heavy. I also have door stoppers that are the antique cast iron irons. And so I piled them and I did squats. And then I have some stairs up and down the stairs. I went up and down the stairs. I did push-ups off of the edge of the table. I did jump squats. I did jump and jump. I mean, so as Noelle was saying, it's not that you can't, because you can. It's that you don't want to, you don't hold yourself accountable. You don't keep your word. You don't whatever. And for me, I think the reason why I have a fire under my butt for exercising is because, number one, I went through a really diseased situation in my life and almost died. And so when you have something confront you like that, it's like oh shit, you need to change the pattern. You need to change the outcome. For me, it's that deep in me. But maybe you don't have that, and you just have to care about yourself enough to say yes. You have to love yourself enough to say yes. If not, guess what? Can I show you a reel 10 years from now and what you're going to be looking like and how you're going to have a hard time getting
and
off.
I'm seeing this.
Yeah.
I mean, Tracy's a few years older than me. I'm a few years older than Karen. So you have like the 3 things here, but I promise you, I am watching people that are my age. I'm going to be 56.
Yep.
And okay. And I watched my mom die from overeating and being stuck in the bed because it's
not moving.
Okay. So I'm telling you, if you don't focus on money doesn't mean shit.
Yep.
Your stuff doesn't mean shit. If you can't freaking breathe, if you can't get up and walk around, if you can't get outside, if you can't drive yourself,
put on your shoes.
You can't put on your shoe or tuck in your pants. And Tracy and I have a friend that has gotten so heavy that he can't put on his shoes. He's better now because we just keep getting on to him every time we see him. But I promise you, no Chinese food or devil dog or glass of wine or whatever the hell you are self-medicating yourself with because you hate your life or you're unhappy or you don't like how much you weigh or how you look. You can change all of that. And don't go injecting yourself with stuff in your face and all that. Look it. You earned every wrinkle. You earned every gray hair, every whatever. You earned it You should be proud of it. You should wear it like a friggin' badge, okay? Because you know what it means? It means you have some wisdom.
Yeah.
And you do not want to be looking like someone that you're not. Embrace, Mel Robbins talks a lot about, loving yourself and self-care. And, she's got that high-fiving yourself thing. And, so many people, as I do this happiness studying and work, the levels of depression and especially in teenagers, the levels of self-loathing that are out, like, it's frightening to me, which is why I am dedicating the rest of my life to showing people how to be happier. That is like I'm going to be 56. So I plan to live to be 100 and something. So for the next 50 plus years, that is what I'm all about. I'm going to show you and teach you things that you can do to have yourself be happier on the daily. And it starts with being able to friggin' breathe. Do you know how many of you are stressed out and you don't take any recovery time? And listen, you can take a micro recovery time. Micro recovery time is like 30 seconds, 1 minute. Okay. There was a study done on stockbrokers in the stock oh my God,
The industry,
right in New York at the
the
exchange.
exchange.
Okay. And this company hired a happiness professor to come in because people were getting burnt out and people were becoming disengaged and people were quitting. Okay. So they came in and she said to them, you have to have recovery time. So take 15 minutes and, every hour. And they said, oh my God, we can't, you don't understand. We can't not watch the tape. We can't take 15 minutes. We can't take 10 minutes. We can't take 5 minutes because the whole market, when it's open, everything could fall apart in 5 minutes. So she said, okay, take 15 seconds every 2 hours, take 15 seconds and shut your eyes and take 3 deep breaths, but you have to do it consistently. Okay. And they did that and the improvements were huge.
Nice.
Okay. That is micro recovery. So when we say to you, you've got to take time for yourself, you have to take a time out. You've got to take white space. Juliet Funt has a great book about taking white space. Okay. So you could everybody has 15 seconds and most of you have probably minutes. You're not in the stock market, most of you. So you can take the 15 minutes. If you just get up every 30 minutes and stretch or walk around, if you're a person that has to sit at your desk most of the day, you just get up and walk around every 30 minutes for like a few minutes, just once around. And you'll probably see me start to do this when we're doing a class because we're all sitting. Because the more I read, the more I understand. And believe me, watching my mother pass away 25 years before she planned to, because she did not do any of these things, like Tracy's seeming illness weighed on her, this weighs on me. So if I can prevent anybody out there from the fate that befell my mother by her own hand, I will, then I've done my job. Because people are just not paying attention. Whatever you are drinking, whatever you are eating, whatever you are, it is affecting you and your body and the processed food and all of that. And I don't want people to feel bad or wrong or whatever. So it's not about that. What it's about is you can make a small change. You could, instead of having a glass of wine, you could have a glass of water. Instead of,
there's alternatives everywhere.
Instead of watching a movie and just sitting there binge watching, get up from the sofa every time you go to a new episode and do a couple stretches, do a couple yoga moves, there's yoga all over YouTube. There's somatic yoga, there's chair yoga, there's qigong stuff. There are so many things out there free, available for free. Okay. So just,
Yeah, the other day I was coming home and my whatever shoes I had on, my heel slipped out from under me as I was carrying in the groceries. I had my purse, I had my work bag, and I had two groceries. So a shoulder, and then I walked in the house and my foot went like this, and I just went my whole body. I just grabbed my body, like I just, you know what I mean? Like I clenched. And I'm telling you what, if I didn't have that flexibility and the strength and the wherewithal in my body already, I would have fallen out. I would have broken something. I would have broken the eggs, but I would have hurt myself physically bad. So just for flexibility and strength and balance.
And let's just speak to that for a minute, because it's a perfect example of trying to do everything. Because perhaps you could have left some bags in the car and taken 2 trips.
Yeah, but I'm not saying they weren't heavy. It's not that they weren't heavy.
No, but I mean that's a perfect example of what people are doing, right? We're piling everything. I mean, yes, what you're saying is an excellent example of why to be flexible, but also when we're saying like, I know so many people that are just piling everything, and Tracy and I are famous for this because we can do everything. We'll do it. And what I'm really wanting to teach in the second half of my life is like, oh my God, it's not going anywhere. If I leave 2 bags in the car and come back and get them, it's fine. If you get your kid the wrong pajamas, who cares? If you forget to order whatever, it's, give yourself some grace for God's sake. The world is like a strange and different place right now. There are so many unhappy people, and they are just trying to do too much and put too much on themselves, and it's just too much. Take some space.
Yeah.
Take some space for recovery. Take some space to stretch, breathe, try to get outside. Just like do it small, 5 minutes. Tell yourself, I'm going to do this for 5 minutes, and 5 minutes becomes 10 minutes, becomes 15 minutes. So what I've discovered is that 30 minutes 3 times a week of aerobic exercise will make a huge difference in your happiness level. So I'm going to put this out there like a happiness challenge.
Yeah.
So anybody that wants to take on the challenge with us, I'm going to make an accountability post every day inside I'll do it when I do mine. So 3 times a week, I will make a happiness post inside the big group. We'll make an accountability post rather. So it could be anything, right? You could walk, you could do a yoga video, whatever. Strength training when you're my age and Tracy's age is really important, but we're not even going to go there. We're going to make this really easy. We're saying 30 minutes of aerobic exercise 3 times a week. That's it. Just something. And then we welcome you to be accountable to us inside the group to help you help yourself. And what I'd love for you to do is I'd love it if we did this, from now until the fall, and like a study, and get a journal, and let's see, let's prove the scientific evidence. Let's see, check at what your level every day of how you feel and your happiness. And then let's start doing, let's see what happens, and let's help each other be consistent with it.
Yeah.
And, when you don't want to do it, then, tell yourself, I'll just go down there and do 5 minutes. And I promise you, if you go out and you're 5 minutes in and you go, I have to either say I did or didn't do it, I'm just going to finish and do the 25 extra minutes. You know what I mean? Don't wait to be motivated to change your life. I have news. Some days you'll be motivated and some days you will not be motivated. Do not wait for motivation to make change. Decide to make change and then get your ass moving and start making change. Because waiting to be motivated is like waiting for crystal dust to fall on your head from the sky. Maybe it'll happen and maybe it won't.
Mhm.
I would like to be having this conversation with all of you a year from now saying, wow, remember last year when we started the exercise challenge and how different we all feel now?
Yeah.
Imagine if we hadn't started that.
Mhm. Mhm.
You know, we start where you are, do what you can, use what you have,
Yep. I love it.
and let's go. Let's see what happens. And what do you have to lose?
Mhm.
Really? Weight. You have
Right.
weight to
Right.
lose.
Right.
And apathy.
Mhm.
And and plus those of us that stick with it, you'll have a little group of people here that are on the trail with you, and that always makes it a little bit better.
Yeah.
So all right, we will see you next week.
Yes.
Have a good week, everybody. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there, and all the stepmoms and pseudo moms and
Mother's Day.
helper moms and all of that. Happy Mother's Day to all of us. Cheers. And what better time to make a commitment to yourself than Mother's Day? It's time for you to start mothering yourself and taking care of yourself the way you take care of other people.
Yep.
All right, we'll see you.
Bye.